Okay. We're gonna do our SAFE Act update. Here is the new map. Down here is Westchester, Suffolk, and Nassau County, which are cut off from the map. They represent Long Island, and then there's the 3 counties of New York City. Now, okay. This is Tompkins County. Westchester, Tompkins. This is a very, very fanatical liberal county. And the people of Tompkins had to practically twist arms of Republicans in their county's lawmaking body to demand a proposal of the SAFE Act. And they made their proposal, but it was voted down. So Tompkins is blue, which means it made a proposal, but it will stay blue. Albany County and Broome County will vote before the end of March. Today is March 23rd. By April 1st, hopefully these will be green. Hopefully these two will be green. This will stay blue, and all this. Yeah, I know it's insulting. Now, here is the issue. The major lawsuit. Let me backtrack. Okay. The Schultz lawsuit, which was where the guy contested the emergency need for necessity. In other words, New York State, I mentioned this before, New York State, you have to let a bill be aired publicly for 3 days before you can sign it into law. And there is an exception which allows the governor to declare an emergency and write the law in right away. Now, Cuomo declared an emergency and wrote the law in without any public viewing. The state assembly voted on it after dinner Monday night. The state senate voted on it between 11 and 12:30, 11 p.m. and 12:30 a.m. And then by 1 o'clock, Cuomo had signed the law. Now, that lawsuit was heard in state Supreme Court. State Supreme Court is not like the U.S. Supreme Court where a whole bunch of judges sit and know. And State Supreme Court in New York is not the highest court. We have several appellate courts above them. The Schultz lawsuit was contested to State Supreme Court, and the function was the emergency powers thing is bullshit. Suspend the law. This is considered the weakest of the 5 lawsuits. Ice cream truck. Yeah, there's an ice cream truck bell in the background here. The state Supreme Court judge that heard that said a higher court, an appellate court, ruled that the governor can do whatever he wants with the emergency powers, and my hands are tied. I can't rule in favor of you. I have to settle with Cuomo. Fine, whatever. So Schultz is contesting that to an appellate court. He was heard yesterday. The appellate court will decide by Thursday, the next Thursday, whether or not to suspend the SAFE Act or keep it in place. The other 3 lawsuits, nothing has changed, and the major lawsuit was finally filed in court. It's now officially filed. Before they gave the state a notice, we will sue you. Now the official lawsuit is in, they are suing. It is official. Now, I was asked several questions about the map. Where can I get a copy? You can go to Facebook page New York SAFE Act Resolutions, and they'll give you all the maps and they'll update you in real time. But I'm also going to post a link down below. The Hudson River. The Hudson River is a major waterway in lower New York, particular Westchester County. You know, the Hudson River Valley were called. My elementary school and my university were on the banks of the Hudson. I had to take a special college class on the history of the Hudson River. Now, the video shows a picture of the Hudson River, and they have the map of New York City all in white superimposed on the picture. And you ever see those concert t-shirts? You turn on the back of the t-shirt, has the date and the arena of all the concerts. Well, the New York State map is white, and then it'll turn one county green and have their date. And they'll have on the bottom a quote from the county lawmakers, you know, repeal, unconstitutional, etc. And the entire video, green, 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 they show in chronological order all of the counties going green. And the music is Last of the Mohicans. And it's very, very uplifting to see. It's very uplifting. Like, yeah. It's like being a fucking little kid playing a game. It's like, yay. Very, very, very uplifting. Now, the plaintiffs for the New York State lawsuit are iPad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 10, I think. There are 3 individuals, and there's a whole bunch, and the rest are all corporations, organizations, you know, civil rights groups. New York State Rifle Pistol Association. That is the major gun rights association in New York. Its counterpart in California is Cal Guns. They are the oldest gun rights organization in the country, predating the NRA itself, and the president, Mr. Tom King, is a board member of the NRA. Okay? They're located in Albany County, New York. And they're a civil rights group, blah, 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 extension of the NRA. Westchester County Firearms Association is obviously in Westchester County. I talked to the president of Westchester County Firearms Association, Scott, I forget his last name, Scott. I talked to him on the phone twice. I'll get to that in a minute. And they are a Westchester County based gun rights organization. You know, the NRA is national, NYRSPA is state, they are county. Sportsmen's Association for Firearms Education. Yeah, Sportsmen's Association for Firearms Education. Acronym, SAFE, ironically. Their acronym is SAFE, as ironic as it is. Are located in Suffolk County, which is on Long Island, believe it or not. They're dedicated to promoting firearm safety, education, and training, sports shooting, blah, blah, blah. New York State Amateur Trap Shooting Association is just that. A group of guys that trap shoot shotguns. They're located in Bridgeport, New York. Yeah, Bridgeport, New York. Bedell Custom is a firearms manufacturer and dealer located in Erie County, New York. Beatrick Ammunition Corporation is located in Monroe County. They are FFL dealers, and they sell firearms and ammunition. Blue Line Tactical and Police Supply is located in Westchester County, New York. They're dealers. They're really a firearms dealer. William Nojay is located in Monroe County, New York, and he owns several AR-15s. And he's actually a district an assemblyman, District 133. I don't know a lot of the assemblymen and the state senators, so forgive me. Now, so we have one state lawmaker on our side officially, and a whole bunch of corporations and civil rights organizations on our side officially. Now, I was talking to Scott from Westchester County Firearms Association, a couple weeks ago. And one of the things we talked about, I was not allowed to talk about in my last update. I was sworn to secrecy. But because it's officially been published, I'll talk about it now. Scott wanted the many angles they're working at. Commerce, infringement of rights, Justice Scalia said you can't ban the most popular firearms for self-defense. They're working at 1,000 angles. One of the angles they wanted to work at was the disabled. Now, you've heard me say Washington, D.C., Heller versus D.C. Prior to 2008 in D.C., no one could own a handgun except a police officer. You could own a rifle or shotgun, but there was an absolute ban on so-called military-style features on rifles and shotguns, which meant the catalog of rifle and shotgun was very limited. And the penal code literally said you had to have your rifle or shotgun disabled at all times, so you could not use it for self-defense. Now, no handgun, only rifle or shotgun. That means when someone breaks into your home in the middle of the night, you got to assemble the weapon, prepare it, assume a defensive position, and defend yourself within, 20 seconds? And I said a million times, imagine if you had one arm, literally, and some guy broke into your house, and with one arm, you had 20 seconds to set up your rifle or shotgun and run around the house like this with it to defend yourself. Plus, in D.C., prior to Heller versus D.C., your weapon had to be disabled so it could not be used for defense. That meant in D.C., prior to 2008, if you used a firearm to defend yourself in your own home as last resort, you were guilty automatically. And that was the angle I worked. I said, God forbid you got a disabled guy, how the fuck can he defend himself? Well, Scott told me that was an angle they wanted to work at. And I said, well, I got my bum fingers in my right hand here. He said, no. We want worse than that. I said, okay. He said, do me a favor. Look around, maybe you can help me out. Look around and see if you know a disabled person that can help us. I said, okay. So I called my gun range, and they said they had already gotten a memo from Scott regarding that question, and they did not have anyone that fit that criteria. So I talked to a friend of mine from nursery school who has spina bifida and is paralyzed for life and hates Cuomo anyway, and he never got back to me. And I talked to Scott about my friend Joe Acasella, the clerk from the town of Harrison. Joe is dead now. He had his legs amputated at age 3. He was a Republican person who would have been mayor of Harrison had he lived, unfortunately. But he's dead now, he can't help us. So, my friend from nursery school, the guy that's paralyzed, he never got back to me. The guy with the amputated legs has been dead for 2 years. He can't get back to me unless I get a medium in here. And my range doesn't have anybody. So, Scott said get back to me on the subject. So I called Scott back, I left a message on the machine, and I said, Scott, it's me, Vinny, blah, blah, blah. I'm calling for an update on the thing we talked about. I want to be quiet about it. Scott called me back after work and said, we already got somebody. So, plaintiff Thomas Galvin is a resident of Monroe County. He's a federal firearms license dealer. He has a carry conceal license, life member of the NRA. He's been a competitive marksman since 1970, which is 13 years before I was even born. And he's a left-handed amputee. So this gentleman has been competing in competitions 13 years before I was born, and he sells firearms, and he has a carry concealed license, and he's missing a hand. Okay? So you complain to me about how fucked up your life is. Plaintiff Roger Horvath is a resident of Putnam County, which is right up the line for me. He is also an FFL dealer. He's paralyzed from the chest down, is wheelchair bound, and suffers from carpal tunnel in his left hand. I'm going to scroll way down if I don't want to lose him. .46-page document here. You know, I can't find it on here, but I remember the gist of it. Mr. Horvath lives in Putnam County, which is right over the line from me. Now, Mr. Horvath is paralyzed, as I said, chest down, carpal tunnel in the left hand. He has a property, and he has a house on a property, and the nearest police officer is 5 miles away. And he has a 9-year-old adopted son who he has to look after a few days a week. Maybe in the ex-wife share custody, I don't know. But his bitch is, he's on his house. Don't forget, when you are I've said this a million times over the past couple of years. You have a house on a giant property. Putnam County is the next stop above me, but if you go way upstate New York where the mountains and the hills are, you'll think you're in Montana. Okay? You have a house on a giant property. Okay? The nearest cop is 5 miles away. Okay, you are already in trouble if a home invader comes in. Now put yourself in a wheelchair and make yourself responsible for a 9-year-old boy. Under New York State Castle Doctrine, as long as you are on your property, you are not required to retreat, period. But in Mr. Horvath's position with his wheelchair, he might not be able to retreat even if he wants to. You ever see Gremlins, Mrs. Deagle? That chairlift on the staircase? Well, they're more affordable today, and a lot of paralyzed people have the chairlift. You roll over to the chairlift, sit in the chair, pull yourself and hop into the chair, hit a button, ride the chair up the staircase, and maybe you got another wheelchair up top of the staircase. Or ride the chairlift down the staircase, and maybe you got another wheelchair there. You're not going to be able to do that under pressure when someone's in your house chasing you. You know, you got 3 or 4 home invaders with weapons running around the house. You will not be able to wheel yourself over to the stairs, hop out, hop into the chair, hit a button, go down, hop out, crawl, get another chair, roll to the door, open the door, roll down the street 5 miles. You will not be able to do that. So if you have a paralyzed person, especially, what's he gonna fucking do? Roll out of the house and leave your son behind? Okay? You cannot expect people to retreat all the time. Retreating is very, very hard, even for an able-bodied person. You might be backed up into the corner. You might be on the 3rd floor. You know, You might be in a room that has no windows, like a basement or an attic. You know, you might be in a closet. How the fuck do you know you're not like in a walk-in closet cleaning up your shit, and then